Starting from this issue, I will explain the Battle of Sekigahara. The Battle of Sekigahara was an important battle that confirmed Ieyasu Tokugawa's ascension to the top. This battle was a struggle for power after the death of Hideyoshi Toyotomi. And it was between Ieyasu Tokugawa, who possessed political and military power second only to Hideyoshi Toyotomi, and Mitsunari Ishida, who was Hideyoshi's subordinate and in charge of the practical affairs of the Hideyoshi administration. There is an anecdote. In the Meiji era, Clemens Wilhelm Jacob Meckel, a military officer dispatched from the German Empire to modernize the Japanese army, is said to have seen the battle formation at Sekigahara and immediately said that the Tokugawa would lose. This story is said to be fictional these days, but it is an interesting anecdote. The battle was so tactically disadvantageous for Ieyasu's side. However, the result was a great victory for the Tokugawa army. Let's take a closer look at this battle. In August 1598, Toyotomi Hideyoshi, the ruler of Japan at the time, passed away. He was 62 years old. He had a son who was to succeed him, Hideyori Toyotomi. However, he was only 5 years old at the time of Hideyoshi's death, so naturally he was unable to take control of the government. The old Hideyoshi was in a hurry. His successor Hideyori was still young, and the regime that Hideyoshi had built was still relying on his own charisma, so the regime was unstable. And he himself had taken over the world after the death of his master Nobunaga Oda, leaving Nobunaga's children behind. Hideyoshi was worried about the future of his cute son Hideyori after his death. While lying sick in bed, Hideyoshi repeatedly asked powerful daimyo to pledge their allegiance to Hideyori. Hideyoshi also asked Ieyasu Tokugawa to become the guardian of Hideyori. Ieyasu Tokugawa was the second most powerful man in Hideyoshi's regime. He tactically defeated Hideyoshi, who had overwhelming military strength, in the Battle of Komaki and Nagakute in 1584, and made peace with Hideyoshi. Fortune was smiling on Ieyasu. Although he had won the Battle of Komaki and Nagakute, Hideyoshi was preparing for a further general offensive. The difference in their military strength was overwhelming. However, in 1586, a major earthquake struck Hideyoshi's territory. This earthquake left Hideyoshi with no time to fight, and he made peace with Ieyasu. Ieyasu's reputation for fighting Hideyoshi on equal terms greatly increased after this battle. After this battle, Ieyasu became a vassal of Hideyoshi. Hideyoshi treated Ieyasu differently from other daimyo, and Ieyasu faithfully served Hideyoshi. No one thought that Ieyasu would turn against Hideyoshi. However, there was one person who saw through Ieyasu's ambitions, Mitsunari Ishida. He was a brilliant administrator appointed by Hideyoshi. His outstanding administrative abilities made him an indispensable figure in the Hideyoshi regime. He was a very capable person, but he was indifferent to human relationships. He was unable to read people's emotions. People said that Mitsunari was arrogant, using Hideyoshi's authority as a shield. He had no personal virtue. He was on bad terms with Kiyomasa Kato and Masanori Fukushima, both of whom were also generals in Hideyoshi's employ. After unifying the country, Mitsunari mainly demonstrated his abilities on the political stage, but Kato and others were generals who had gained fame in the battles to take over Hideyoshi's rule. To Kato and Fukushima, Mitsunari was nothing more than a general who had no achievements in battle. They also held a grudge against Mitsunari, believing that he had undermined their military achievements in the Korean campaign and reported them to Hideyoshi. Hideyoshi's political structure included a council of 5 elders and 5 commissioners. The council of 5 elders were powerful daimyo who had pledged allegiance to Hideyoshi, and they were led by Ieyasu Tokugawa, with Tashiai Maeda, Teramoto Mori, Hide Yukita, and Kashij Uesugi following. After Hideyoshi's death, these 5 daimyo decided the political direction to be taken. The 5 commissioners were in charge of the actual administration of government affairs, and they included Mitsunari Ishida, Nagamasa Asano, and other men who had been under Hideyoshi's command. Ieyasu held a court ranked next only to Hideyoshi, and Hideyoshi asked him to be the guardian of Hideyori. Therefore, after Hideyoshi's death, he was seen as the first of the 5 council of elders, and in effect became the person who ran the government. After Hideyoshi's death, Ieyasu began to make moves for power. Hideyoshi Toyotomi had banned marriages between daimyo without the permission of the council. Ieyasu broke this ban soon after Hideyoshi's death, and arranged marriages between the children of Masamune Fukushima, Masamune Date, Kiyomasa Kato, Nagamasa Kuroda, and other daimyo, and Ieyasu's relatives. It was Mitsunari Ishida who felt the strongest sense of crisis about these marriages. He thought that this marriage was the first step in Ieyasu's usurpation of the world, and that he was preparing to create his own faction. Furthermore, the families of Fukushima, Kato, and Kuroda, who had entered into this marriage, were all at loggerheads with Mitsunari. Mitsunari's only hope was Toshiai Maeda, one of the Council of 5 Elders. He served Nobunaga Oda alongside Hideyoshi, and after Nobunaga died, he contributed to Hideyoshi's rise to power. He was given a position by Hideyoshi that would allow him to compete with Ieyasu, in order to prevent Ieyasu's tyranny. Toshiai Maeda, who was deeply loyal, was outraged by Ieyasu's breaking of Hideyoshi's ban. Toshiai and Mitsunari were prepared to use force against Ieyasu's decision to hold a wedding without permission. Toshiai and Mitsunari were supported by the Council of 5 Elders Uesugi, Yukita, and Mori, while Ieyasu was supported by the Lords Fukushima, Kato, and Kuroda, who were all enemies of Mitsunari. In February 1599, Toshiai and Ieyasu made peace and the war was averted. Unfortunately, however, Toshiai Maeda, the only one with the ability to rival Ieyasu, died in March 1599. For Mitsunari Ishida, Toshiai Maeda was a reliable protector. After Toshiai's death, something strange happened. Fukushima, Kato, Kuroda and others, who held a grudge against Mitsunari, plotted to attack him. At this time, there is an anecdote that Mitsunari sought the protection of Ieyasu, whom he hated as a usurper. It is said that Ieyasu did not hand over Mitsunari to Fukushima and Kato, and that he rejected their demands. In fact, it seems that this story is a fabrication. When Mitsunari learned of the attack by Fukushima and the others, he fled to Fushimi Castle. Ieyasu acted as an intermediary in this incident, and the matter was settled by having Mitsunari retire and having the military merits of Fukushima and the others in the Korean campaign re-examined. Ieyasu's reputation was further enhanced by the peaceful way in which he dealt with the incident. In addition, by sparing Ishida Mitsunari, he left a rift among the daimyo who owed their allegiance to Toyotomi. As a result of this incident, Mitsunari was removed from the political center. In September 1599, a plot to assassinate Ieyasu, who had gone to Osaka Castle to greet Hideyori Toyotomi, was discovered. The masterminds were Toshinaga Maeda, the eldest son of Toshiai Maeda, and Nagamasa Asano, one of the 5 commissioners. Upon hearing the news, Ieyasu continued to stay at Osaka Castle, Hideyori's castle, and dealt with the incident there. He relieved Asano Nagamasa of his post and made plans to conquer Toshinaga Maeda, who was in Kanazawa. In order to prove his innocence, Toshinaga Maeda avoided war by sending his mother to Ieyasu's castle in Edo as a hostage. Ieyasu, who was based in Osaka Castle, the center of the government, eliminated Mitsunari and Toshinaga Maeda, who could have become a political rival, and further consolidated his power. Furthermore, Ieyasu arbitrarily decided to increase the territories of daimyo and transfer them. It is thought that these were measures to increase the number of daimyo who supported him. These increases and transfers were originally decided by the Council of 5 Elders, but Ieyasu decided them on his own. After the deaths of Toshiai Maeda and Mitsunari Ishida, there was no one left to stop Ieyasu's tyranny. Ieyasu steadily consolidated his position, while Mitsunari was waiting for an opportunity to launch a counterattack. Next time, I will explain the campaign to subdue Uesugi. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to our channel and press the like button.